Everybody, welcome into another episode of the NFL Seekers podcast. Today, we're coming at you with our Week 12 preview, picks, fantasy football slash betting plays, and start sits for every single game of Week 12 of the NFL season. There's 6 bye weeks this week, so a lot of kind of nasty start sit discussions that we have to have. And so stay tuned for the fantasy discussions here. We're watching this Browns Steelers game right now, the perfect beautiful football aesthetic, the snow coming down, getting wider, the field getting wider by the second here. It's a beautiful aesthetic. Excited to talk about these games. How are your stores?
Doing really good. Sorry about the missed podcast last week. Our schedules got busy. We are back at it this week. Excited to talk football, and the aesthetic of talking football, well, counteractively watching football is just the perfect duo right now.
Yeah, just beautiful, beautiful time of the year. I wish it was snowing as hard as it is in Cleveland here where we are, but we'll make do. Let's go on to I guess we can just kind of say who we picked in this Thursday night game as we watch it. I think we both picked the Steelers. Right now, currently it's 19-18, and they just got a pick. So it's looking
And
like
Jameis just throws an interception.
sadly, timely. It looks like the Steelers are going to win. It would have been fun to see Jameis get that W. It was looking like they were going to, but it's looking like we might be 1-0 on the pick so far for the week. With that being said, let's go on to the first game that we're going to talk about. The first 1 o'clock game on Sunday here. The 8-2 Vikings are going to go into Chicago, play the 4-6 Bears. The Vikings are 3.5 point road favorites in this one. And I think it's going to be a really good game. I was really impressed by Caleb last week and the first game without Waldron. Obviously, the Bears offense looked a lot more competent. I thought they should have won that game. Obviously, that field goal controversially didn't go their way at the end, but I definitely think they should have won that game. They played good enough to win that game. So I think this game is going to be a lot better than people think. The Vikings have played some close games against some pretty bad teams the last few weeks. So I think this is going to be an absolute squeaker. It's going to be a really fun one, obviously, an NFC North battle. I'm not too confident on a pick on this one yet.
You know what? I will go into this and I'll give my pick because I'm very confident. I don't know. I think I'm a little suspect on the Bears. Yes, they had a good week. They played the Packers very admirably. But they found a way to lose, and that kind of seems to be the Bears, theme this season is finding a way to lose. And on the other side of the ball, the Vikings are finding ways to win. And they're a hard-nosed, playoff built football team. And I kind of have to ask you this question right here. So obviously my pick, I'm picking the Vikings. I think they will handle the Bears with ease. But did you hear the rumors of veterans in the Bears locker room calling for Caleb to be benched? And what do you make of that?
I did hear that. I mean, I understand where they're coming from if it's true, because obviously they played with Bajent last year. They all rallied around him. But I think mostly they were just kind of frustrated with the offense. And I think the biggest part of that was just getting rid of Waldron because he is just terrible, terrible. He was clearly bringing them down. The play calling was horrendous. So I think it was the right move, keeping Caleb in there and letting him cook without Waldron. And I think it worked pretty good last week. And I think they're going to keep letting him cook this week, and he has a lot of license. And I'll get my pick out of the way because I am going to pick the Bears. I was going to pick the Bears. I wanted to hear your pick first, but I have a sneaky, weird feeling that the Bears sneak away with this win because they should have beat the Packers last week, and I picked against them last week, and they definitely impressed me. So I am going to pick the Bears here. I think Caleb impresses some people and gains some respect from his locker room here, and I just have a feeling, even against this Brian Flores defense, it's going to be dialing up a lot of pressure against this Bears offensive line. I just have a feeling that Caleb continues to progress and look like he did last week. And I think he can come away with a squeaker here in sloppy Soldier Field.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. I respect it for sure. It is gonna be a fun matchup because I mean, definitely the aura and the atmosphere of that locker room has definitely changed, and you saw it last week. So yeah, I mean, it should be a good game. I'm looking forward to getting Caleb back on track. I so badly wish, Matt Eberflus would have been fired and they really would have brought in an offensive-minded guy to help Caleb Williams in year one. And, as so many people who are suspect and talking crap on Caleb Williams, I'm just going to blow it out. I mean, it is so hard for rookie quarterbacks to do good in their first year, especially with bad coordinators. And so, Caleb Williams, he's not, offensive rookie of the year this year, like we all thought. But, I think we're going to see a bounce back from Caleb, this end of season. So, it should be a fun game. It is a true testament, Caleb playing this, Brian Flores defense, which is going to come after him and see how he handles, the pressure and the blitz. So it's going to be an exciting game. So this is one you should definitely tune into because it's going to be a real test for Caleb.
Yeah, it's going to be a great, great divisional matchup here. Going into fantasy, I think Romo Dunze is getting a little bit exciting here. He's definitely taking over as the wide receiver two in this offense. So I think he's like a mid flex play. I think you can flex him here. Obviously, Keenan, you want to bench. Obviously, DeAndre Swift is a start. Caleb, you want to bench. But my question here is DJ Moore for most leagues, he's probably a flex play for you. But I got a question for our co-manager league. Are we starting DeAndre Hopkins versus the Panthers or DJ Moore here versus the Vikings? It's a pretty tough one.
I think, the best way to do this would honestly be to flip a quarter. That's hard. That's hard. Wow, you put me on the spot there, Dan. I'm not even gonna lie
I'm
to you.
scared. I'm scared that the Chiefs can just run the ball the entire game against the Panthers and just get away with not even using Hopkins. And obviously, Thomas Brown kind of schemed up a lot of screens for DJ Moore last week, so at least there'll be some manufactured touches for Moore. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean DJ Moore here just because the game script should favor the Bears more to where it should be a game where they most of the time in reality should be trailing. So I do expect, the Bears to throw the ball more than the Chiefs, against the Panthers who should just run all over them. And I believe is Isaiah Pacheco should be back this week.
He should be. Yeah, there's not really any word yet saying that he will be, but I mean, either way, I'm sure Kareem Hunt will run all over them, and if he is back, they both will. So I just changed the lineup. I agree. I think that he will be in a better game script, probably in a tougher matchup against the Vikings, more competitive matchup. They'll need to throw the ball. I think DJ Moore is the right play.
100%. And
So that
as we
ends.
are speaking, Jameis is gonna get the ball back with 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Dan. He has a chance. The Steelers are punting right now away to Jameis Winston. He's got a chance for a comeback. And it was a botched punt. He's gonna get the ball at about the 45.
We'll see if Jameis has the ice in his veins in this icy snow game here. This would, I mean, I'm sure that he does have the ice in his veins. So it looks like Jameis is going to get a game-winning drive here. So beautiful, beautiful stuff for all football fans. On to the Vikings in fantasy. Obviously, you're starting Jefferson. He's going to go off. Aaron Jones, I think this is a really good matchup because the Bears secondary is really good, but their run defense is kind of a run funnel defense. So I think Aaron Jones has one of his better games here. He's had a slump over the last month, but I think you can start those two. TJ Hawkinson coming off a rough week, you're still going to start him and just hope for the best. Hope that he plays a little bit more snaps, gets more involved as he gets healthier. And then all of the other options, Jordan Addison's just like a real, real dart throw for me. I don't really love Sam Darnold in this matchup either. So I think it's really just Jefferson, Aaron Jones, and Hawkinson for me.
Yeah, I 100% agree there. And like you said, TJ Hawkinson coming off of a dud, you have to start him because the upside is there and you're hoping he comes back. Jordan Addison, man, I don't even know what to say. I've had Jordan Addison on my team pretty much the whole year, and every week that I bench him, he seems to score a touchdown. So the 3 weeks he scored is the 3 weeks I benched him. I'm going to bench him again this week. So for any of you who do have Jordan Addison, take that in consideration that he's probably going to score a touchdown.
Take that for what you will. He's an absolute lock to score a touchdown in this week, thanks to the Stores curse. With that, anything else you want to say in this game?
No, let's move on to the next one.
All right, let's go on to the next game. The 9-1 Detroit Lions are going to go into Indianapolis and play the 5-6 Colts, who are in the outskirts of the AFC wildcard race. Right there is the seventh, or sorry, the 8th seed right now. The Lions are 7-point road favorites in this one. The Colts are going to be wearing their all blackout uniforms. They're going to be a nice aesthetic going on there in Indianapolis. And getting my pick right out of the way, I thought Anthony Richardson looked great last week. He's really actually accurate, which surprised me, and he was obviously great on the ground. So respect to Anthony Richardson. Hopefully he can build off that. But the Lions defense is playing good, and this Lions team in general is just looking like they're in a league of their own. They're above the rest of the league, playing perfect football on offense, defense, special teams. They're just playing unreal football. Their coaching is incredible. So you got to give me the Lions here to, take care of business on the road as 7-point road favorites. I think they cover that spread, and I think this is probably like the most comfortable game for me to bet on of the week. I just think it's the Lions are just too good. I don't really see them losing anytime soon. They lost in week 2 to the Buccaneers somehow, and I really don't know if they'll lose again.
Give me the bloody murder game of the week here, Dan. Starting it off fresh and fast. I love what the Lions did to the Jaguars last week, putting out 55 points. I expect this offense to be humming and rolling. And you know what? Yeah, like you said, Anthony Richardson played good last week. I think we're gonna see an OG Anthony Richardson game where we're 3 for 17 in an absolute shit fest. So I'm feeling very, very confident in Anthony, or sorry, in the Lions defense to attack Anthony Richardson. I'm feeling multiple picks, and I'm feeling a bloody murder game of the week. But from a fantasy aspect, I want to get right into it. You already know you're starting everyone on the Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the two running backs, David Montgomery, or as I should say, it's Knuckles and Sonic and Knuckles?
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. Yep.
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles, the dynamic duo. And then, Sam Laporta, if you have him, you might not have a better tight end option. He could be a good, tight end play for a score. And then I just want to hop real quick over, and I think Jared Goff is a must start too. I think going down this stretch, he's going to be an awesome fantasy quarterback. Going on to the Colts, I'm gonna be honest. I'm only feeling confident starting Josh Downs and Jonathan Taylor this week. I even Jonathan Taylor, I feel like has limited upside because I feel like the Lions will contain him pretty good, but you're hoping for a score. But Josh Downs, I think, is this team's best wide receiver. Is their wide receiver one, and he's kind of quarterback proof at this point, as we've seen the past 5 weeks.
Kind of hilarious how it feels like Michael Pittman's the wide receiver four at this stage. Just crazy, crazy stuff. But yeah, I like you saying that Jonathan Taylor's scary because against this Lions run defense, if he doesn't fall into the end zone, he doesn't get any catches, he's going to give you a really, really gross floor. So I'm not really excited for Jonathan Taylor in this matchup. Honestly, you have to start him, which is why he's scary. But yeah, Josh Downs has been incredible, even with Anthony Richardson. And quietly, obviously, you're starting every Lions player, including Jared Goff. You want to target this game because it's going to be a high scoring game in fantasy. Quietly, I want to start Anthony Richardson if I'm pretty, down bad at quarterback, if I have a lot of bye weeks. I think Anthony Richardson isn't a bad stream if Jared Goff is already off the waivers. I think you can start Anthony Richardson just because they're going to be chasing. The Lions put up stupid amount of points. They're at home. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot just because of that reason. So I actually am comfortable with Anthony Richardson this week. And I think he could be a high upside stash for your playoffs, honestly, if he, continues what he did last week.
Oof. I'm gonna say that's a bold take from
It
me.
is.
I want to see one more good game of Anthony Richardson, but I definitely do respect the take.
Yeah, it is bold, but really just in fantasy, he excites me. I'm not like too confident that he's going to be a good quarterback in real life, but I do like the upside in fantasy moving forward. Going on to the next game, let's go on to an NFC East showdown here. The 3-7 Dallas Cowboys are going to go into Washington, play the 7-4 Commanders, who are 10-point favorites at home here. This is going to be a Jaden Daniels versus Cooper Rush game. It's looking like CeeDee Lamb didn't practice today, so definitely monitor that. If there's no CeeDee Lamb, that could be real rough because Jake Ferguson won't be playing as well. Cowboys are just so beat up. The defense is starting to get healthy finally, but it's just too late with all these injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Give me the Commanders, obviously. It's a pretty easy pick here. If they lose this one, then there are gonna be some real questions about the Commanders who have been a little bit cold here over the last month or so. So I will take the Commanders here at home. I think they can take care of business pretty easily, just run the hell out of the ball because everyone can run the ball on this Cowboys team. So give me Jaden Daniels to run, pass all over this team and get the job done over Cooper Rush, who played actually decent last week, but they just are too injured.
Yeah, I think you summed it up there. And I think, the Cowboys at this point are just heading for a high pick because I think Jerry Jones wants Ashton Genty. So that should be the main topic and headlines for the Cowboys going forward is, I think we're gonna have chance of we want Genty in Dallas. So that should be something to look forward to. So, terrible season for the Cowboys, but you know, it's never too late to start looking into the NFL draft, getting your prospects ready. And I'm sure, unless you live under a rock, you know who Ashton Genty is. And so, that's my main storyline for the Cowboys. Obviously, I'm rolling with the Commanders who should come in here. And, obviously it's going to be a divisional game. So it's going to be closer than we think, but I think the Commanders should take care of them with ease. And from a fantasy aspect, I think it should be a fun game for these Commanders player to get, back on track. So I think Jaden Daniels is in for a big game. I'm excited to see Terry McLaurin, coming off of a stinker. I think he gets back into it. And what do you think about this running back duo for the Commanders, Dan? And they're playing really good, as a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, against this Cowboys defense, I think they're just going to run the ball every single play. So Brian Robinson's a great start, and then Austin Eckler's definitely a good dart throw in the flex. He should get a lot of receiving. I think he led the team in receiving last week, so he'll definitely give you a nice floor. There's a lot worse flex options right now, so I think both of the running backs are good starts. Zach Ertz even could get a lot of targets like he did last week, and then on the Cowboys, I do want to say Luke Schoonmaker. He had 10 targets last week when Jake Ferguson went down. They were just peppering the tight ends. They gave Schoonmaker 10 targets and Brevin Spanford 4 targets. So that was 14 targets to tight ends after Ferguson went down. So Cooper Rush really liked spamming those tight ends. So watch Schoonmaker. I think he's a pretty good start. He's playing against me, so that's going to be real fun because I think he has a nice PPR floor there. CeeDee Lamb's obviously a start. He showed last week that he can still bring you points even with Cooper Rush. And then you're not really excited about anyone else because I think that Rico Daddle's a bench as of right now until he proves otherwise.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that aspect. Cowboys are a pretty dull offense moving forward, and so definitely play with caution.
And Brandon Cooks is back, so it makes it a little bit less exciting for, the tight ends and not CD because CD's going to be their whole offense still. But Brandon Cooks does kind of muddy the targets a little bit more here. So you're not excited about like a Tolbert or anything. But with that, let's go on to the next game here in AFC East division battle. A lot of division battles this week. The 3-8 Patriots are going to go into Miami, play the 4-6 Dolphins, who are 7.5 point favorites at home here at Hard Rock Stadium. And I think getting my picker right out of the way, I think the Dolphins offense continues to get better every week. I think they, continue to click here. And I think that defense is actually balling right now. They're just playing great. Jalen Ramsey's playing great football. Shout out to Chop Robinson, one of my favorite rookies in this class. He's absolutely balling lately. So this Dolphins team is definitely clicking right now. They're trying to make a playoff push here as hard as they can. They need to essentially win out with the odds, with the Tua injury kind of really setting them back. But I do think the Dolphins get a W here. I don't think it'll be easy because Drake May is playing some really good football. The Patriots defense is still pretty decent. Christian Barmore is back as well. So I do think it'll be a fun game. All these Drake May games are like, a little bit high scoring shootouts. You always take the over on these games. So I do think it'll be a fun one, but ultimately the Dolphins offense will come out on top at home.
Yeah, I 100% agree on the exact same page. This is kind of do or die for the Dolphins. I think they can maybe afford a loss, one more loss at most. And this is a game that you should go in there and you should win. Like you said, though, AFC East divisional matchup, it is going to be tough. And Drake May, like you said, it could turn into a shootout. Drake May is going to keep this team competitive. They're getting healthy at the right time. But it should be a fun game, and it should be a fun game from a fantasy aspect. I think it's going to be a high-scoring fantasy game. So, given, how many buys and stuff are happening this week, maybe look at Tua, maybe look at Drake May, if you're, if you have Kirk Cousins as your starting quarterback, there's a ton of people on bye weeks. So, target this game as a high-scoring fantasy game.
Yeah, speaking of fantasy, this guy right here, Jonnu Smith, has been awesome. He's completely taken over Jalen Waddle's role. He literally has outproduced him in every statistic. He is the wide receiver too for this Dolphins team that loves to pass the ball. So you definitely are excited for Jonnu Smith. He's a must start. I think you can even start him in the flex with how much he's getting involved. Obviously, 2 touchdowns last week, some big plays downfield. Jonnu Smith's a great start. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane are smash starts. Don't need to talk about them. Tua, like you said, is a pretty good start in this matchup. He's playing a lot better. Should get you a few passing touchdowns here. I'm playing against Tua, so he's a lock to go off as well. So those are all the Dolphins I'm starting. Not touching Mostert. I think he's droppable because it's looking like Jalen Wright's kind of taking over his role. Going on to the Patriots, though, I think you can start Drake May as well. I think this is another game that you can target in fantasy. I like both these quarterbacks. Drake May has given you a little bit of a rushing upside as well. So definitely like Drake May in this matchup. And obviously, Ramondre, you're starting. And receiver wise, you can start Pop Douglas as Jerry Judy is just going off right
I
now.
know I'm trying so hard not to say anything, but what a grab by Jerry Judy
That's the
right
second clutch big grab of this drive. He is just
now.
cooking the Steelers right now.
What a throw by Jameis. You gotta,
Yeah.
after an interception, this has been a drive. So, excuse us as you're gonna be seeing this tomorrow, but you'll be seeing our live reactions to the Browns Steelers game.
Yeah.
And wow, this is fun, man. This is talking football and watching football. We should do this more often because this is a good time.
Yeah, electric times. Only 2 minutes left, and this Browns team is having a clutch drive. Shout out to James and Judy. Patriots receiver wise, though, I don't know. Pop Douglas, you can start. You should be locked to get like 6 to 8 targets. maybe even 6 to 9 targets. So you can start Pop Douglas because they're going to need to throw the football a lot in this one. I'm not really excited to start Kayshon Boutte. I mean, I'm playing against them in fantasy, so that's probably going to backfire on me, but I wouldn't personally start Boutte. I just think it's Pop Douglas, and Hunter Henry is a great start as well. I am starting Hunter Henry personally in our league, so I think that's it for all the fantasy options, though.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, you named everyone. And again, I'm just gonna rephrase this. Look for this game to target if you have multiple, players, teams on a bye because it should be a fun shootout.
Yep, should be one of the more higher scoring games of the week. Let's go on to the next one. The 2-8 Tennessee Titans are going to go into Houston, play the 7-4 Texans. AFC South battle. The Texans are 7.5 point home favorites in this one. The Oilers Bowl. The winner of this game gets to claim the Oilers, and I think Stroud finally gets clicking here. I think Nico Collins is going to be a lot healthier here. Let's go Browns.
Nick
I
Chubb.
hopefully they didn't give him too much time though. But in the snow, they
Hopefully,
probably didn't.
hopefully you started Nick Chubb in your fantasy matchups because that is touchdown number 2 for Nick Chubb. Um,
Yeah, this was definitely a good matchup to starting Chubb because the weather, you knew they'd have to run the ball a lot. Will be interesting to see if the Steelers can get a game-winning drive going here. But like I was saying, Nico Collins, I think he's going to have a lot better game this week. Obviously, he took a screen to the house first play of the game, got called back, but he looks really fast. He looks good. I think Nico Collins absolutely blows up in this matchup here. He goes off. Joe Mixon going to go off as well. CJ Stroud, not loving obviously starting him. If you have to start him, you can just because they're playing the Titans. He should throw a few touchdowns to Nico Collins, in my opinion. Tank Dell is a very scary start, but obviously my picks out of the way. The Texans are going to win this football game. I think it could, be closer than the spread says, but give me the Texans here. Give me starting all these guys in fantasy, except for maybe Stroud. He's been really bad over the last few months, but I think you could start him in a pinch.
Yeah, I don't know why, but this kind of feels like a stinker game to me. I feel like this could be a lower scoring matchup than usual, but I do like what you said. I do feel like there's a big Nico, game coming. I feel like there's a big Nico catch on the way. And Joe Mixon, man, I don't know what happened to him putting on a Texans jersey, but there is just a resurgence. Why is he so much more athletic, so much faster, so much quicker twitch? Maybe the Texans, off-season workout program just put him into good shape. Because, I mean, this guy looks like he's in the best shape of his career. He is absolutely thriving. He is one of the best running backs in the NFL. And he just looks like, I mean, he looks refreshed. It's crazy. The resurgence from him and the speed differential is crazy.
And he just looks like a badass. He's got aura in the Texans jersey. He just is a complete monster over for the Texans. And I'm playing him in fantasy. So super scared about that. But I will say this Titans run defense is really good. They've been really, really awesome. Obviously, completely shut down Aaron Jones last week. They've been super solid. So definitely think that the Texans are going to win this game. Titans wise, you're just starting Pollard, especially with no Tajay Spears. You're excited about Pollard. Calvin Ridley's kind of that must start category, which just sounds absolutely crazy to say, but it's really just Ridley and Pollard for me. I don't think you're touching anyone else here.
Yeah, no, the entire rest of the offense is pretty gross, and I'm staying completely clear. I have Tony Pollard. I traded for him, kind of regretting it. Bad trade that
You
I
got
did.
bailed out because Tajay Spears is hurt though, so you got definitely bailed
Yes.
out there.
Yeah, and then I'm hoping for the volume. And so the volume of Tony Pollard, definitely there's going to be more receiving game. There should be, a lot more. So hopefully the volume carries Tony Pollard to a good game.
Absolutely, but I think we covered this game well. We both have the Texans winning this game. Don't need to watch this division battle, but let's go on to the next game. The 9-1 Chiefs are going to go into Carolina, play the 3-7 Panthers. Chiefs are 10.5 point road favorites in this one. I have Isaiah Pacheco on the graphic here. It's not confirmed that he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to play, but I mean, either way, I think him and Kareem Hunt are going to cook in this matchup. Obviously, this Panthers run defense has been a gold mine for fantasy running backs all season long. So I think even if Pacheco plays, you're starting Hunt, and I just think both these running backs would absolutely eat in this matchup. I think Pacheco's a lock to score a touchdown in his first game back if he plays. And I mean, I'll get my pick right out of the way. I think the Chiefs win this game. I think they easily cover here as well. I think you can add this to your parlays. I think even with this big spread, I do think they cover here on the road. I just think that they're going to click, match up really well over this Panthers team coming off a loss. They're going to be pissed off. So add this one to your parlay. Give me the Chiefs, even to cover this big spread in this one. I would be excited about, their fantasy running backs. I'm not too excited about their passing game, honestly, because I just don't know if they'll have to pass the ball at all. I think Mahomes is a bench, maybe even a drop for me. And I'm not really excited about DeAndre Hopkins. Like we said, we're starting DJ Moore over him just because of this game script. They're going to run the hell out of the ball. Obviously, Travis Kelce have to start, but give me the Chiefs here.
I sent a gift today that really reminds me of this game. So this is going to be, for those of you who can see, this is going to be my baby Michael Myers Bloody Murder game of the week. So yeah, I have the Chiefs handling this with ease. I think Bryce Young and Chuba Hubbard could play, admirable and put up a touchdown or two. But this is going to be just a dominant Chiefs win. I mean, they're coming off of a loss. They're going to go back to being the run first Chiefs and really just establish that run game and dominance with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. So it should be cake for me. And like you said, I am a little bit scared. I think Travis Kelce could definitely eat. I feel like when they're throwing, they're going to be throwing the quick intermediate route stuff. And so Travis Kelce, Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out with the volume. I don't feel like they'll rush Pacheco into a big workload. But however, I do feel like Pacheco would be the one to score. So I feel like both running backs honestly could be maybe startable in this
I
one. Just
agree. I definitely would.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with that, and then obviously on the other side of, I'm starting Chuba Hubbard, and I mean it's hard to say because Leggett could definitely find his way into the end zone. I'm not too comfortable with that, but if you have no better options, he could be a dart throw. And then to be honest, I'm not comfortable with anyone else on the Panthers offense.
Yeah, with Adam Thielen back, honestly, I'm personally benching all three of the Panthers receivers. I'm not touching them. I think Chuba's the only start. And even then, the Chiefs are really good at shutting down the number one player on an opposing team's offense. And that's going to be Chuba Hubbard here. So this Chiefs run defense is going to really key in on Chuba. Obviously, Jonathan Brooks is back too, so maybe monitor that. But you are a little bit scared of Chuba's production and upside here in this game for sure, especially the upside. I don't really see too much of an upside in this matchup here, but you can start Chuba because you kind of have to because he's proven that he's just a stud. Obviously, the Chiefs defense is a must start here, but yeah, not too much fantasy plays here outside of the Chiefs running backs for me.
Yeah, 100%. It should be a baby Michael Myers game, but yeah, I think this is a seeker's lock, and you don't need to watch it.
All right, no need to watch the baby Michael Myers bloody murder game of the week. Going on to a more exciting matchup here. The 4-6 Tampa Buccaneers are going to go into New York, play the 2-8 tanking football Giants. The Buccaneers are 6-point road favorites in this one. Mike Evans is back. Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets is back. A exciting, electric superstar type matchup here. You got the boy Tommy Cutlets, who's gonna run all over the. Don't know why, but he just always is running over teams. I'll never forget when he beat the Packers last year out of nowhere, and the Packers were starting to get hot at the end of the season. He just beats them at home in this game, in this picture, actually. That was wild stuff. I think it could be fun. They could put up some points and disappoint people who start the Buccaneers defense, but give me the Buccaneers here to win this game. In Mike Evans' return, I think he has to go nuclear because he has to hit 1,000 yards on the season, and he's kind of set back missing the last month. I think Mike Evans has got to just set a high pace here, get a 100-yard receiving game, and just really set the pace for this team, set the tone. Obviously, Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Cade Otton are all playing well. So give me the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield just playing too good to lose to Tommy Cutlets, even if he brings a fun aspect to this team. Maybe they'll be fired up, but they're clearly tanking going to Cutlets over Drew Lock. So you got to give me the Buccaneers here.
This one was actually kind of tough because it could just feel like a Giants resurgence game. And I could see Tommy Cutlets going off. It's he kind of did it last year, but on the other side, Baker Mayfield's pissed off. Baker Mayfield is mad. Mike Evans is back. And I think that's going to be it. I think Baker Mayfield is just going to be out there with his head on fire because he wants to try and get his team competitive. He wants to try and go into this back end of the playoff race. And they're not too far out of it. I know it looks like they are at 4-6, but they are not too far out of it. Baker Mayfield is a dog. I think his true dog will show, and I'm going to be right on your side. I'm going to roll with the Buccaneers. And give me a big Baker Mayfield game. Give me a big Baker Mayfield game through the air. Mike Evans, Cade Otton, I think are going to absolutely eat in this one. The two running backs should be fun. I think Rashad White's going to get his and Bucky Irving. They're kind of like the baby, Sonic and Knuckles. Definitely the what is it? What's the cheap brand that everyone says that the
Great value.
Great value, great value. Yeah, the Walmart, great value brand of those two. But, I do expect a big game and it should be pretty fun. And on the other side of the ball, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little scared. I think Tyrone Tracy is a good play just because I feel like he will get enough through the air and, on the ground. I feel like the volume would be there for him. What do you think about Malik Neighbors with cutlets? Do we have any confidence? I mean, it's something we've never seen.
Yeah, the Buccaneers love shootouts. Like you said, all the Buccaneers options are great starts, and I think they're going to put up a lot of points. So I do think obviously Tracy's going to get a lot of run here. They're going to hand it off to him a lot. They'll pass it to him. So I think Tracy's a great start, but Neighbors, I think is still a good start. Obviously, the ceiling isn't too high with cutlets thrown to him. He's not going to get those big plays, but he will have a nice PPR floor. And I do even think that Wan'Dale Robinson could be a decent dart throw at flex just because I think they're going to need to pass the hell out of the ball to, keep up with the Buccaneers. And I just think they're going to kind of play YOLO ball over there in New York. So I do think that they're all, those three at least are decent options. And if you're in a deep super flex league, maybe you can start cutlets too.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree with that. Should be a pretty fun game though. I'm actually gonna have this one on my multi-view because I'm excited. I think this should be a pretty interesting game. I'm excited to see Cutlets back in action.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a big game here with Mike Evans back. I think he's a great start in fantasy. We'll give you a slight boom week here. And then I do think one thing is I think the Buccaneers defense will disappoint some people. I can just already picture the Giants scoring around 20 and the Bucks scoring like 30. I just think it'll be a higher scoring game than people think. And the Bucks defense is going to be heavily started. So monitor that one. But going on to the first of the afternoon games, let's go to the 6-5 Denver Broncos going to Vegas to play the 2-8 Raiders, who are 6-point underdogs at home here. The Broncos are playing some really good football, playing up really hard with the Chiefs, and then just completely snot pounding the Falcons in the last few weeks. Shout out to this guy, Nick Benito. He's second in the NFL in sacks right now with 9 sacks. He's been a revelation this year. Shout out to Zach Allen, this Broncos defensive line, their run defense, their secondary. This defense has been incredible, one of the best in the NFL. So, with that being said, I'm going to be at this game. I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game because I just think that this defense will be absolutely dominant and it's going to be kind of a lock for the Broncos to win this game. They just beat the Raiders pretty bad at home. They absolutely ruined Gardner Minshew. So, give me the Broncos to win this one.
Sorry, you see George Pickens trying to fight a fan right there.
No.
George Pickens is over. Last play of the game. The Browns do win. The Browns do win. There's just the last second Hail Mary by the Steelers, and then all of a sudden the camera cut over to George Pickens. It's being held back. He's trying to fight a fan in the stands.
Pickens and Winston both are just national treasures. They're just infinite memes. I love it.
Pickens didn't even go for the ball. He literally just had his arm around. It was Greg Newsome.
What was that?
He is an inspiration to football players. Oh my, and Russell just took an
Yeah,
absolute
correct.
shot.
Miles Garrett's having a game.
Oh man, what a fun win for Browns fans, For the Browns fans that showed up to that, what an awesome game. That would have been an absolute treat to be a Browns fan to be at that snow game and to watch that. And Dan, you jinxed us because now we are now 0-1 in pick'em. So did not expect that to happen, but you called it live on the pod. Jameis threw the pick. You said it looks like we're going to be 1-0, and now we're 0-1.
Well, you
So
know what? I wouldn't want anyone in the world to prove me wrong more than this guy, the national treasure of the NFL, Jameis Winston, MVP, Hall of Famer. I'm proud of him.
Me too. Yeah, he's blessed to be out there, in this beautiful snow weather. So you gotta love it for the kid. He's out there having fun.
You're just happy and blessed to be there. You gotta love to get with Jameis Winston. But yeah, I'm picking the Broncos in this matchup. I just think that they're gonna dominate them like they did at home. It could be somewhat close because it's a divisional matchup in Vegas, but this Raiders team is incredibly hurt too. Their top three corners are out. So expect another big Cortland Sutton game who's been on fire. These young, receivers for the Broncos have been playing really good. Bo Nix has been playing incredible football, really safe with the ball. He's throwing downfield a lot as well. He's just playing some really awesome football as a rookie here. So give me Bo Nix and the Broncos.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I'm going to be on the same page with you because you just hit it. Bo Nix is playing. He's playing like the rookie MVP of the season right now. As much as I dislike Sean Payton and who he is as a person, He is a hell of a coach. He's coached up Bo Nix. I mean, he's turned him into exactly what he wants him to be. And Bo Nix is freaking dude. The resurgence that Bo Nix has had from his first few games and him growing into a quarterback has just been really awesome to watch because it's awesome, man. I mean, he's on time. He's running the ball good. I mean, he's quick decision making. He's pinpoint accuracy. So, as you as a Broncos fan, I'm sure it's just heaven for you to watch. And last week watching him absolutely just rip apart the Atlanta secondary is probably awesome for you. What a treat. But yeah, dude, Bo Nix, he's got a legit chance to lead to lead the Broncos to a playoff run, in a division that's going to have, already two other quarterbacks and two other teams in the AFC West make the playoffs. So, you know, incredible stuff from Bo Nix. And yeah, I'm obviously riding with the Broncos in this. They're getting hot right now at the right time. And meanwhile, the Raiders, you got Brock Bowers. If one thing Tom Telesco did for your organization, he did draft Brock Bowers, which me and Danny are going to have to deal with for the next decade. One of the best tight ends that probably will ever exist. He's incredible. He's on pace to break Puka Nakua's rookie reception records and just every record. He's just every tight end record. He's just something special, man. So Raiders fans, look forward to the draft. You know, Shadur Sanders, Cam Wards, start getting familiar with those names because, your season at this point is sadly over. But yeah, it should be a fun game for the Broncos to beat up on the Raiders.
Yeah, no clue how Antonio Pierce is still employed. And I said like 8 weeks ago that I'm not picking the Raiders until Antonio Pierce is fired, and he's still here. I think they've lost like 8 games in a row, damn near. So definitely give me the Broncos here. Like you said, Brock Bowers, we both wanted him so bad for our Broncos and Chargers, and sadly he's on the Raiders, and he already has been a revelation. He's like the best tight end in the NFL already. And yeah, Bo Nix, like you were saying, it's been 10 years since we've had a good quarterback. We won the Super Bowl in 2015 with Peyton Manning playing terrible quarterback play. He was being outplayed by Brock Osweiler. 2014 was his last really good year. So it's been 10 years of just bad quarterback play. So it's been so refreshing. Makes me happy, makes me smile, excited to go to this game and watch Bo ball. But yeah, going into fantasy though, I think Bo is a really good start. How good of a start? I don't know, because I want to ask you this for our co-manager league. We have two good options. We have Kyler versus the Seahawks or Bo versus the Raiders. Kind of like what we did with receiver though. I'm kind of leaning Kyler because he's going to be in a better game script. I think the Broncos could run the hell out of the ball here and not need to pass it in the second half. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But what about you?
Honestly, I'm way more I'm surprised you said that. I'm a lot more confident in Bo Nix. Kyler Murray, yes, he can. I mean, I like the consistency of Bo Nix right now. Um, I think Bo Nix is a lock. He's kind of on that same lock with Kyler for rushing yards. And I just feel like, yeah, the game script should be positive for both, but I am more confident in Bo Nix not busting. I think Kyler Murray has a higher chance to bust, even though he hasn't busted in a couple weeks. He's just, oh, Kyler's either great or he's non-existent. And I think he's due for a non-existent game. And so, yeah, I'm confident in Bo Nix because the offense just revolves around Bo Nix.
All right, in Seattle, I guess we'll start Bo next. Just change the lineup there as well. I guess that is fine because he does have a higher floor. I guess it is just kind of the ceiling is a little bit higher with Kyler. But yeah, I like that. Obviously, both are top 10 plays. Both are really good plays. You got to start them if you have them. Obviously, I think Javonte Williams is a good start because you got to just ride the hot hand because you don't know what the hell Sean Payton is doing or saying. You can never trust that dude. But you just got to ride at the hot hand. So as of right now, it's Javonte Williams. So you're starting him. You're starting Cortland Sutton, who's been, speaking of hot, one of the hotter flex plays in fantasy right now. He could be on a league winning pace. Hopefully, he's playing some really good football. Hopefully, he keeps it up here against these beat up Raiders secondary. I think that's it for the Broncos, though. And then for the Raiders, it's just Brock Bowers. And then keep an eye. It's looking like Alexander Madison and Zamir White are going to miss. So I do think Amir Abdullah isn't a bad start here. I'm going to be starting Abdullah because I have Bijan on bias. So if both Zamir and Alexander Madison miss, I do think Abdullah could be a start here. And, if you're desperate like I am, and Jacoby Myers is kind of just a boring flex play, but you can play him.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. Jacoby Myers is, yeah, I mean, just because he is the wide receiver one in the offense, you're going to be banking on that and a positive game script. Brock Bowers should definitely eat. I mean, the last time he played the Broncos, he had a pretty, incredible game. But yeah, Brock Bowers really the only one I'm excited about on the Raiders. And like you said, I have like right now in our main fantasy league, I have Javonte Williams starting. I'm kind of between him and starting the tight end Sam Laporta at my flex position. So I'm kind of it's a toss up. I might flip a coin come Sunday morning and just roll with whatever that coin says because I it's truly what would you do in that situation? I mean,
Just this specific week, like if you would have asked me last week if Laporta played, I would have said Laporta. But I think Javonte in this matchup against the Raiders, where I truly think they're going to be running the ball like the entire second half, I can just totally see him getting into the end zone. He seems to have the hot hand right now, and I think that's what Sean Payton's kind of doing is riding with the hot hand. Hopefully, he doesn't just switch the starter every week. That would be something that would be a Sean Payton thing to do. But I do think Javonte would be the start this week, and if he somehow wasn't good in this Raiders matchup, then never start him again. But I think this is like the perfect matchup.
yeah, I agree. I think I will start Javonte. The receptions were there last week. He did play very well, and it is just a terrible Raiders team. So okay, I'm gonna trust you on this one, Dan. I'm gonna blame you next week if he sucks.
Yeah, he's playing pissed off because they're giving the other running backs a lot of go. So I do think Javonte would be a good play here. Obviously, Laporta can always give you a spike week and score a touchdown, but he's just not going to have the volume that Javonte will get. He should have some receptions as well. So I do think Javonte's a good start. All the Broncos' main options are good starts. Going on to the next game, though, a really, really fun game. I have a feeling we could be split on this one. The 5-5 San Fran 49ers are going to go into Green Bay and play the 7-3 Packers and Lambeau, who are 2-point favorites at home. I was a little bit surprised by this line. I don't know why. I obviously their records are, the Packers a lot more attractive, I guess. But I was a little bit surprised by this line. I will just get my pick out of the way though. I am gonna go with the 49ers on the road. Obviously, this is a great matchup, a playoff rematch, which was a great playoff game last year where Jordan Love played awesome and the Niners came away with it in the end because Brock Purdy played really, really solid as well. Brock Purdy's a little bit banged up here. He's gonna go. The Niners in general are banged up. Deebo Samuel looks pretty injured. Jawan Jennings looks like the best receiver in NFL history. So I am excited about Jawan Jennings. I think that Christian McCaffrey will get enough done on the ground. I just have a feeling the Niners get this one done. Obviously, Jordan Love is getting healthier. I think the pass offense could be pretty solid here for the Packers. A good matchup for their passing game. Josh Jacobs is obviously playing great, has a great receiving floor. He got a lot of catches last week. Should be a really good matchup. But give me the Niners in this one and just kind of a coin flip matchup that's going to go down to the wire and kind of a weird game.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Wow, so you picked the Niners. Okay, well, all right. I'm surprised. Packer Dan all season
Yeah.
is picking against his team.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because Dan has so much fantasy implications on the Packers every week that he probably knows them better than most. But I am still on the side of the Packers, man. I don't think Jordan Love is playing his MVP football like he was last year, but I still feel like they are super solid on and just really well rounded on both sides of the ball. Like Josh Jacobs played a hell of a game last week. I think their run game is really starting to get rolling. And yeah, I this is a good split right here. This I am gonna pick the Packers. I think they're a little bit more explosive. And I kind of feel this bad juju around the 49ers where it's just that element to the offense. Maybe it's just Brandon Ayuk never, obviously because he's hurt, he's out for a season. Maybe that was just the juice that's always been missing. But McCaffrey comes back and there's just not much spark. And I don't know. I mean, obviously the 49ers will go on these losing streaks, but there's just a different vibe in San Francisco right now, and I'm not loving it. And maybe it's the Brandon Staley effect.
The vibes are as bad as it gets really for the 49ers. And yeah, Brandon Staley could be the only thing that makes sense to blame because I don't know what's going on. It really doesn't make any sense. The Niners just have to win, though. I have to pick them because they have to win. I keep picking them. They keep failing me. Hopefully they don't do me dirty this week because I am going to keep picking this team because they're just too talented to lose these games. I know the Packers are a great team. They're playing good at home. Give me the Niners, though. I just have a feeling that, the defense could create some turnovers on Love. He's been playing kind of careless in the end. I do think it'll go down right to the end, and maybe there'll be a Jordan Love turnover that kind of screws him over. But give me the Niners. I still just trust Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy's still playing great. I trust Jawan Jennings, wide receiver one. Even if Debo's out there, if Ayuk's out there, Jawan Jennings, the real alpha in this offense. He is just a stud. Give me Jawan Jennings, though. And in fantasy, you're starting all these Niners guys still. Debo is really scary. You're not loving starting him at all because he's been abysmal, but I feel like you still have to start him. Juwan Jennings is a must start, one of the best receiver plays of the week. He's just awesome. Christian McCaffrey, you got to start. Brock Purdy, you got to start because you want to target this matchup. Obviously, it's going to be high scoring. Jordan Love, you got to start. Josh Jacobs, you got to start. I think, Christian Watson's a really good flex play coming off a big game. Jaden Reed has no volume, but he's definitely still a start in this matchup. They're going to need to throw the hell out of the ball. You can really start anyone.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It should be a pretty good game script for both teams. I think it's going to be, a fist fight, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the running backs in this one. I'm going to say, Josh Jacobs and Christian McCaffrey might both be my two favorite running back starts of the week. And then, yeah, like you said, Juwan Jennings. If you're lucky enough to snatch him in free agency, he is an absolute dog, and I think he will just continue to eat for the rest of the season going forward. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the rest of them.
Yep, league winner Jawan, that guy. Obviously, you're starting Kittle as well, who we didn't cover. Tucker Craft could be a dart throw even after a goose egg, just because this is a game to target, like we said. So take the over in this game, and we'll go on to the next game, which is another game that you should take the over on because I could see it being a high-scoring back and forth battle that goes down to the end. The 6-4 Arizona Cardinals are going to go into Seattle and play the 5-5 Seahawks. This line is very interesting. When I was first making these graphics, the Seahawks were 1-point favorites. When I was editing and finishing up the graphics, the Cardinals are 1-point favorites. So now it's back flipping back and forth. It's going to be a really close game, and that kind of shows with the Vegas line here. People are betting on the Cardinals now, who are 1-point favorites. This is going to be a really good game. I really don't know who to pick here. The Cardinals are playing a little bit better as of late, but the Seahawks are coming off a win against the 49ers. So that's a big confidence boost for them. Almost an impossible game for me to pick. I'll definitely name this one the coin flip of the week because this one's truly even more than the Niners and Packers. I am just not confident on this one at all. I'm going to pick the Cardinals, though. I'll get my pick out of the way. I do think that Kyler has a pretty good game here. I think ultimately what wins the game is the rushing game for the Cardinals. I think James Conner has a big game, and I think Kyler could run on the Seahawks run defense. So I think Kyler's going to be the difference maker here using his legs, even on the road. I think Kyler has a pretty nice game. Marvin Harrison could have a nice boom week here. I think James Conner ultimately will be the star of the show here. I think Kenneth Walker will be good as well. I just think there's a lot of stars here that will kind of ball out, but I do just see the Cardinals prevailing in the end.
Two very evenly matched teams. Honestly, I yeah, I went back and forth on this one, and I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Another seeker split right here. And the reason why is because Call of Duty just came out not too long ago. Kyler Murray was on a bye week. I think he maybe got too much screen time on Call of Duty and not watching film. Meanwhile, Geno Smith was leading a game-winning drive against the 49ers, and he's got that dog in him. And, Mike McDonald, I think he's going to have a good game plan going against Kyler Murray. I feel like Kyler Murray's due for a stinker. I mean, and it is. There's a lot of stars in this game. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride and James Conner going against Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf and Kenneth Walker. And it's gonna be fun, man. This is gonna be probably I might put this as my most exciting game of the week. I think this is the Seekers must watch game of the week. And besides, there's one more coming up on Monday Night Football. That's gonna be my second, or probably my first. There's one off, and I'll name my second. I'll name my second because it's going to be a fun one on Monday night. But yeah, I think I'm confident in Geno. I think that game-winning drive really installed life and excitement into the Seahawks team, and I think they're going to be hungry. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, man, is just getting hotter and hotter. He's really looking like an alpha wide receiver in this league. So give me the Seahawks. I'm excited for this game.
You got me scared now because Kyler was in New York at the UFC fights, probably just eating a bunch of pizza, playing Call of Duty. I don't know if he's locked in, so now you got me really scared. Almost wanted to flip my pick here, but I'll stick with the Cardinals. The Seahawks have just been so confusing to me. Like one week their defense will be insane and their offense will be terrible. The next week their offense will be insane. Their defense will be terrible. They just can't seem to click. If they could both click, both their units have a lot of upside and they could be a really good team. They just aren't fully clicking on both sides. So they just really confuse me, kind of scare me a little bit. So I will pick the Cardinals here. Their defense has even impressed me a little bit lately. My gut's just been telling me the Cardinals were like a game-winning field goal the last few days. I'm just feeling a Cardinals squeaker W here. And then in fantasy, like you said, a lot of superstars for the Seahawks. Obviously, Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf must starts. JSN's moving himself into the must start category because last week you were a little bit scared of him because obviously DK Metcalf was coming back from injury, but that didn't matter. He was still a target merchant, getting a lot of big chunk plays. He's looking like an absolute beast. So he's moving into a must start category. Not really too excited about anyone else. You could start Gino though, because I do think this will be a game that gets some receiving touchdowns back and forth down to the end. I think both these quarterbacks could be good starts. So Kyler, Gino, good starts. And then obviously James Conner is a good, great start, honestly. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. A little bit scarier, but you can definitely start him. I think this is a really good matchup where he could kind of give you a boom week, and Trent McBride's a lock as well.
Yeah, 100% agree. Should be a really, really fun game of the week. One of the Seekers must-watch games of the week. So stay tuned for this one.
Yep, Seeker split. Definitely tune into that one. Let's go on to the Sunday night football game. The 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles are going into LA to play the 5-5 LA Rams. The Eagles are 3-point road favorites in this one. And I'm being honest, I have no idea who to pick in this one as well. There's some really hard ones to pick at the end of these games here. This is going to be a good game. This Eagles team has been playing really good. So much superstars on this team. The defense is playing great football. The secondary is locked down with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean playing some incredible football as rookies. I mean, shout out to Vic Fangio. I think this game is literally just Sean McVay and Vic Fangio. That's what it's going to come down to. The Eagles defense versus the Ravens offense, or the Rams offense. Who will prevail? I really don't know. It's almost impossible for me to say. I do want to shout out the Florida State boys, though. Jared Verse and Braden Fisk are playing some awesome football. Fisk has been on fire lately. I think he's second in rookies and sacks right now. He's playing awesome. So these guys are really competitive. There's a lot of good rookies in these, his matchup. A lot of the good defensive rookies in this matchup. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I really am tilting on this one. I don't know who to pick. I'll let you talk about it.
You know, this is a really good game. I mean, it should be pretty exciting because on one side, you know, amazing coach, Matthew Stafford, electric wide receivers, but just not an overall, talented roster like the Eagles, who are just, have star studs everywhere. Oh, and this is a hard game, man, because I mean this feels like Sunday Night Football, Sean McVay out coaching the hell out of the entire, Eagles coaching staff. And this one is tough, man. This is another coin flip. However, I am just a little bit more confident in the Eagles' talent to just overwhelm the Rams and maybe run them down just a little bit more. I think if the Eagles I think this is how it goes. I think whoever scores first might be the team to win because if the Eagles can score first and establish, their run game and clock management, I think they'll be the team to win. But how if the Rams go out there with their heads on fire and Cooper Kupp gets a big touchdown or Puka Nacua gets a quick touchdown super fast, I feel like they'll win. Oh my, I'm talking myself out of the Eagles. I had the Eagles originally picked, but give me the Rams. Screw it. Give me the Rams. Give me the, the two healthy wide receivers. Give me the more clutch veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford, and just give me the better coach in Sean McVay.
This scares the hell out of me. I do not know who to pick. I've been going back and forth. My gut's been telling me the Eagles, but my heart's been telling me the Rams. Like the
Come on,
Eagles,
Dad. Give us the dogs, baby.
I'm gonna take the Eagles, honestly. Like I had the Eagles here in our dock, and I've been feeling that, and I just think the talent will prevail. I think if it is a close game, I do think that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith can eat on this Rams secondary in the end. Obviously, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are going to eat regardless. But this Eagles secondary has been playing great. Quinyon Mitchell's been one of the best corners in the NFL. So I do think the Eagles defense, just the Eagles team in general, will prevail because they're just so much superstars. Even if the coaching isn't as good, Vic Fangio has been a great coach this year. So I will take the Eagles. I could totally see Jalen Hurts playing like an idiot and getting some turnovers and definitely losing this game. For the Eagles, I really want to pick the Rams because I think they should be better than their record. This is just so tough for me. I kind of hate it, but give me the Eagles. It feels like I'm going against everything that I've been doing all season, but I just got to go the Eagles for some reason.
I'll be the lone dog on this one, and I'm going to take the underdogs. Here on Sunday Night Football, but it should be an electric matchup. I think this is going to be another high scoring one. So it should be Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I think will definitely eat in this game. I think Matthew Stafford, again with all the quarterbacks on buys, I think he's probably a good start this week. And then honestly, obviously, sorry, excuse me, forgetting about Kyron, who should definitely be a good start as well this week. And then Anyone else you think on the Rams worth even touching?
Nope, just the big three. And then I think Matthew Stafford's a great start. I could see like a 3, 4 touchdown game for him. So he is a great start. And then I think for the Eagles, it's kind of obvious as well. You're starting their big three. Obviously, Devontae Smith's a little bit scary. And then obviously Jalen Hurts is a top two quarterback. So you're just excited for all the superstars in this one.
Yeah, 100%. Should be a big Saquon Barkley game. I really expect him to be, a league winner down the stretch. We're looking at, rookie of the year, Saquon Barkley. What year was he drafted? 20.
It's 18, right? With
Yeah,
Baker and
Darwin.
Darnold. He was drafted with Baker and Darnold. I think that was
Yeah, that's
20.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 18. Who were the quarterbacks in 19? Just out of curiosity. Now
Um, 19 wasn't that the year before Herbert? Yeah. So
it was the year before. Who was it?
Kyler, I think.
Oh yeah, Kyler was, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Because yeah, I would have gone, yeah, that Saquon draft, and then where Saquon went two. And then yeah, Kyler was the number one overall pick the next year, 19. And then yeah, Herbert was 20. And then the 2021 was a disaster.
Was Josh Allen 19?
No, Josh Allen was 18.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Josh Allen was 18. And then yeah, that was the Derwin James. That was the Derwin James draft, and that was the Bradley Chubb draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
19.
that was a dope draft. 18 was a dope draft.
Yeah.
You
99
know,
for Broncos fans.
absolutely passing up on Josh Allen for Bradley Chubb. Inexcusable Elway stuff, but let's not dwell too much on the past of Chargers also drafted Mike Williams over Patrick Mahomes. So, but it
That's
ended up
cool.
working out. We got Herbert and you got Bo Nix. It all works out in the end.
Bringing up some PTSD here on an Eagles Rams game, just ruining my night talking about Chubb over Josh Allen. Oh, that's just the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, you're starting all these guys in fantasy. I think Dallas Goedert could even be started just because this will be a game you want to target, a really high scoring game where you want pieces of. Let's go on to the Monday Night Football game. Like you said, the most electric matchup of the week, our Seekers game of the week here, a battle of two of the top five quarterbacks in the NFL, two MVP candidates right now. I think that if the Chargers win this game, Herbert has a real shout to win MVP here. The Ravens are coming off a bad loss, and this is a revenge game for every single player on the Chargers. It's the Jim versus John Bull. Jim is 2-0 versus the Chargers, or I guess versus Jim is 2-0 versus John. That's a confusing thing to say. And it's a revenge game for, J.K.
Or
Dobbins.
you mean John is 2-0 versus Jim?
Yeah, did I get their names mixed up?
Yes, yeah, you got him. Yeah, yeah.
John and Jim confused me.
John. Sadly, the other guy is 2-0 versus my coach.
The Jim and John names just confused me. But yes, the Ravens coach John is the names confuse me so much.
2-0. John Harbaugh is 2-0 versus Jim Harbaugh in the
Yes,
NFL. Obviously, never
yes,
played each other in college, but yeah, 2-0. And the last one being the Super Bowl
yes.
where John beat Jim in the last Super Bowl where Ray Lewis retired and
Mhm.
Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith, and what
Yes.
a what a what a game for Jim Harbaugh to come in here and whoop his brother's ass and get to 1-2. And then we'll see you in the playoffs, or John. We'll see you in the playoffs to make it an even 2-2, and we'll be the team to prevail and go to the Super Bowl.
So you're taking the Chargers?
I'm taking the Chargers. Give me prime time Herbert coming off of a big win versus Joe Burrow on Sunday night. This is where you enter yourself into the the tier one category, and people don't doubt you, Justin. This is you shine in big moments. Lamar Jackson coming into your home at SoFi. You gotta go in there. You gotta play clutch like you have. You knocked off Burrow. Now you gotta knock off another top five quarterback and prove to them why you're in that alien tier. Why you're the third guy behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Establish yourself. This is a good, Jim. He needs to establish himself as one of the better coaches in the NFL and beat his brother, who's just been a legend, in the NFL for the last 2 decades, it feels like. So, yes, I am taking the Chargers. I feel like, the Chargers are playing more angry. I feel like, the defense of the Chargers is better. But however, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are scary as hell, and that run game is going to be absolutely lethal. And obviously, they're coming off of a bad, bad loss, which, they really shouldn't have lost to the Steelers, who kicked 5 field goals and were able to beat them. But yeah, I think I'm riding with the Chargers. I think the defense gives me enough confidence to slow down Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, although I am scared as hell, and I feel like the offense will do just enough to have the Chargers prevail.
Yeah, the Chargers are going to be playing pissed off. They got a revenge game for Dobbins, Gus Bus, Bradley Bozeman, Ortiz, the GM. I'm probably forgetting some other players. I don't know if Tony Jefferson's on the roster, but a lot of ex-Ravens on this Chargers team. So a big, big game for all of them. They're going to, play with their heads on fire. Going to be a really good one. I like you saying that, this game could be for the QB3 of the NFL. I really think that it's those two, Mahomes and Josh Allen at the top. And then I think literally these two guys could be playing for QB3 in the NFL. And obviously Joe Burrow's the other guy in that top five. And I think the top five is pretty locked and loaded there. But yeah, this is a big matchup. Could have some MVP implications. Will definitely have some big AFC playoff implications. But give me the Ravens. I definitely could see the Ravens losing this one. They're coming off a terrible loss where the Steelers didn't even score a touchdown. That was just a bad, bad game. But I do think what ultimately makes me pick the Ravens is this run game. I just don't think this Chargers run defense has seen anyone like this Ravens run game, obviously, because it's really just the Ravens and Lions that have the two best run games in the NFL. And I just think that Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson have a big, big, big day on the ground, and that's what gets it done in the end. It's going to go right down to the end. It's going to be a close game. I'm confident the Chargers score a lot of points here, so the Ravens will have to score a lot against this really good defense. So it's going to be tough. I could easily see the Chargers winning this, honestly, but my gut tells me that Derrick Henry has a big game here and gets it done.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. This is gonna be electric. You said it perfectly. The Chargers haven't seen a run defense like this. They haven't seen an off. I mean, they obviously saw last week they dealt with one of the best passing offenses in the league with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Just an absolute unit. And so it's going to be a completely different challenge where you're going to have to beef up and stop big Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and keep contain on them, which is going to be a really really interesting, battle between, Todd Monken and Jesse Minter. I think that's going to be, maybe the key to this game. And the Chargers, I feel like, they'll have their script, Greg Roman, obviously a revenge game for Greg Roman as well. But he's going to have a script. The Chargers start off hot, but the Chargers, and I think the key to win this game for the Chargers is figuring out how to score points in the third and fourth quarter. I think the Chargers, far too much rely on the Chargers to score points in the first half. They're off their game script, and then after that, they haven't established their run game at all. Even though this is a pretty bad, Ravens defense, the Chargers got to establish a run game. J.K. Dobbins has got to eat. They got to stick to the run game, and they got to turn this into a fist fight. And then come fourth quarter, whichever quarterback's better will prevail. So it'll be fun. I'm excited. It's the Harbaugh, and it should be the game of the week, all the way as the last game of the week.
Yeah, and it's going to be very high scoring because the Ravens defense is terrible, but their offense is going to be putting up points. And we know that the Chargers offense can put up points and they'll need to throw the ball a lot. And obviously, Herbert's going to be playing that top five MVP type football. So it's going to be a really fun game for fantasy. Going into fantasy, you want as many pieces as you want or as you can in this game. You definitely want to target this game. It's going to be very, very fantasy relevant here. So you're starting both these quarterbacks. Obviously, Herbert's moved himself into a must start category, especially this is the best matchup he's going to have all season. This is just a perfect matchup for the Chargers. Obviously, you're starting Ladd, you're starting QJ, who brings those boom weeks. I think QJ is a really good start. You're starting Dobbins, obviously, who's a little bit scarier last week. Those touchdowns really, really saved him, but obviously he's still going to be a great start in this revenge game, in this matchup. Ravens defense has been very bad. So you're starting all of them. And I think Will Dissly is also a great start. I started Will Dissly over Cedric Tillman in our main league. So if that tells you kind of where I am with Dissly, I think he's a really good start. And then for the Ravens, you're starting everyone. Obviously, these guys have been revelations all year. You're riding with them and you're dying by them. Lamar, Henry, Zay Flowers, you're starting them all. Mark Andrews, a little bit scarier with Isaiah Likely back healthy. But I do think you can still start Mark Andrews in this matchup. You just want to target everyone.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun, man. Lad McConkey is gonna be fun, like you said. Will Dissly, who you started over Cedric Tillman, which was already the right pick. Cedric Tillman ended the night with 2 catches for 28 yards and a fumble, so 2.8 fantasy points. So that was the right move by you. But yeah, I have my piece of the pie in this game. I have three Chargers in our main league. I tried to trade Ladd McConkey, didn't work out, but I have Ladd McConkey, J.K. Dobbins, and Justin Herbert. I just traded Josh Allen away because I had Justin Herbert on my bench because I have full confidence in him and the schedule moving forward. So yeah, it should be an electric offensive game between the two. It's going to be a battle. I can almost guarantee you the Chargers will be ahead in the first half, and then the Ravens, they will have to try and hold off Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I feel like Zay Flowers, is going to be a good start. Last year when he played the Chargers, he definitely ate. Um, what do you think? Are you taking a swing on Quentin Johnston at all? For a touchdown, do you think he's a good play? Rashad Bateman. I mean, last week T. Higgins and Jamar Chase both got their own against the Chargers secondary. Jasir Taylor is playing with a fractured, uh, I think it's some bone in your foot. So he's looking a little shaky. Obviously, Asante Samuel Jr. has been out for the last multiple weeks. Christian Fulton's coming off of a hamstring injury, still a little bit grabby. And then Cam Hart may be out with a concussion. He's still a game time decision. So I don't know. The Ravens receivers may be very, very intriguing here with Bateman and Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I don't love Bateman. I think he's a complete dart throw. You can start him if you're kind of desperate and you want the upside. You can get a big play out of him. I don't love him though. Zay Flowers, though, I was gonna say I agree. I could just see him having a big game here. I don't know what it is, but I could just picture a big PPR game from him. I just think they're gonna feed him and he's gonna get you a really, really nice fantasy game. And I think Quentin Johnston's a great start. I think Ladd's a really good start, but I think Quentin Johnston has even higher upside. I just picture him getting a touchdown because he gets a touchdown every single game. And if he doesn't, he gets a really long play downfield. So I do think Quentin Johnston's definitely a start here, which sounds crazy to say where we were at the beginning of the season. But yeah, I think all these guys are really good starts, honestly, except for Bateman.
Yeah, and Quentin Johnston, the hate and flack he got last year for being a bust, especially when the Chargers played the Ravens and Zay Flowers scored two touchdowns. So I can see Quentin Johnson kind of having a chip on his shoulder. I can see them dialing up, a lot of deep plays to him and trying to get him open downfield where, this Ravens secondary has been getting exposed. So I think Quentin Johnston may be a lock of the week for a touchdown. I think him and J.K. Dobbins in this game and Derrick Henry. I think those three, if you're betting money on it, would be pretty good locks to score a touchdown.
Yep, I started Quentin Johnson over Cedric Tillman in another league because I could just picture him scoring. I think he'll definitely have at least 10 points here, and I think he has a pretty high ceiling in this matchup. I just want to target this matchup. It's going to be a really, really fun one. Stores his emotions. It's going to be a complete roller coaster game for him. It's going to be a really, really fun matchup. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful Monday Night Football game. Any X hot takes before we get out of here?
It's not a hot take. It's more of a cold take because it's ice cold. It's a lock. But give me Jim Harbaugh beating his brother John Harbaugh. As I just mentioned, that's going to be my lock hot take of the week. To get to that 1-2 record, and then as another one, I think these two teams will play each other in the playoffs. I think they will find. So maybe that's my hot take. Is these two teams? This is not their only matchup of the season. I think they will see each other. Come December, January football.
All right. Yeah, really, really fun matchup. Obviously, a secret split here. You have to watch this Monday Night Football game. Going to be an electric one. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the NFL Secrets podcast. We're definitely going to try to get a mock draft out here soon. We've been promising that for a while. We've been preparing for a mock draft, so we definitely are pretty caught up on these prospects. Excited to do a mock draft here soon for you guys. But thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.
Peace.